My relationship with my husband is hell. When Jared is angry, he is like the Hulk. I've seen him actually rip his shirt off in half. He breaks everything he touches. His eyes turn a different shade. He's hurtful and he's hateful.
You used to see it. Sit there and let these assumptions run wild in your head.
He becomes this presence that is not something you want to reckon with. It's gotten to the point where I've had to call the police. He's taken on police officers. It took him 3 at a time to try to take Jared down. He's grabbed me and thrown me on the couch. He's grabbed me and pushed me up against walls. He's put knives in my hands to stab his chest. He'll take off in his car at a high rate of speed. In his fits of rage, Jared has punched holes in walls, car doors, broke a $4,000 glass top to a desk. This is impacting our children. Ella lost all her hair when she was about 4.5, and she's going on 9, and it hasn't grown back. We've been told it's a stress condition. In her condition, she also lost her eyebrows and her eyelashes. The scariest moment with Jared was when he held a knife to not only my throat, but to himself. He wanted someone to watch him die. I'm a recovered addict. Maybe I'm addicted to Jared too. I'm very afraid that Jared, eventually he could hurt me and himself, and it could turn into a murder-suicide.
Well, Lexi, I haven't seen you in a while, and I said to Lexi when she walked out, it's good to see you, sort of. You're not calling with good news, but you're in a pickle with your husband, and it's gotten to the point that you're really scared. True?
Yes.
What are you afraid is happening with you? Because you call it an addiction, and in 2003, you were addicted to ephedrine. And now you say you're addicted to an explosive husband. Mm-hmm. So what's happening now that's so powerful in your life that you call it an addiction?
I actually was called out on it by a therapist. She and other people in my life, with the circumstances over the last 3 years, have wondered why I keep going back or why I haven't left.
Is this a stress-filled house at this point?
Yes.
So much so that your daughter has lost all of her body hair.
Yes, she has.
Completely. Eyelashes, eyebrows, head hair, everything.
Right.
And she's how old?
She's 9. She lost that at 4.5. It was about 6 months after Jared and I had gotten married, and it was about 2 weeks after she found out she was going to have a sister.
Is she worried about her daddy?
Yes.
This happens in front of the children.
Not all the time, but it has, yes. They know who Daddy is. They call him the Hulk.
And tell me, in your words, what happens that has you scared here?
Things didn't really get bad until about 3 years ago when Jared was delivered some bad news. And, you know, all these times I've kind of understood, or I don't know if I've made up excuses, or because when you see the other side of him, it's different. But what's got me scared is that the last on Thanksgiving, he got to a point where his aggression and his rage wasn't even at me. He was talking to me like I was his mother, and they have a real tumultuous relationship, and so his aggression has changed to almost delusional. And I know that his eyes had changed that time. He didn't care that he was taking me with him almost. You know, I don't think that was his intent. I don't think he wakes up in the morning and says, I want to hurt my wife or yell at my wife. But by that time, he was, things are different now.
When you say he was talking to you as his mother, what do you mean? Are you talking to the point that in his point of view, he was speaking to his mother? In you had morphed into his mother in his perception?
Yes, him and his mother don't get along. He has a lot of anger at her, and they don't see each other.
And what was he saying to you on this occasion?
You think you're perfect. Your world's always right. I'm just in your life. I've always been a mistake to you.
There was a knife involved here.
Yes.
Tell me about the knife.
This last year, Jared has not every time, but the times when they have escalated, Jared has brought out a knife. It's usually for him. He wants the pain to end. He wants it all to stop in his head. He wants whatever the voices are that make him hate himself so much. He wanted me to hear him. He wanted to know that he mattered. Even if he was going to take his life that night, he wanted me to see that. And his thing is, when he brings out the knife, usually he puts my hand on it, and he wants me to put it through his heart. He wants, while his hand on top of it. Because I don't know if he thinks that he wants to know that he matters, or that someone saw it, or that he thinks that I hate him so much that I want to do it, and that he's just helping me out.
Okay, so let me get this picture right. It's 1:30 in the morning. You're pulled out of bed with your child.
She's still asleep, but he did where I was sleeping with her, yes.
Right. And during this altercation, he's talking to you as his mother, not as his wife. And he produces a knife and puts your hand on it and wants you to plunge it into his heart.
That's like the 5th time this last year, yes, that he's wanted me to do that.
Have you threatened Lexi with a knife?
No, I've never threatened her with a knife.
Have you ever held it to her throat?
No.
Has he? And later, we're in a meltdown situation here. And your younger daughter says there's a monster living inside you.
I want the noise to stop. I feel as the only way to do that is to die.
Well, Jared admits he gets angry, but says he can't remember all of the details of what happens when he goes into these rages. Take a look.
I have a problem with my anger. When I'm angry, I start yelling, I start slamming doors, I've punched holes in the wall, I've cut my chest with a knife before, I've tried to go fight my neighbors, had run-ins with the law, I've had my wife and kids leave in the middle of the night because they're so scared. I basically just scare everyone around me. The way I look when I'm angry is how an animal would puff up to make himself look bigger than he really is, jerking my jaw tight, my fists are clenched, my eyes go black. It just goes full throttle from there. Lexi tells me that I get shark eyes. Nothing really can snap me out of it. She slapped me a couple times.
You looked me in the eye 3 times and you hate me.
Oh, really? How many times did you tell me you hate me?
Once.
No, you sat there, hit me in the and said you hate me.
I grabbed her, picked her up and moved her. I feel that I've been a tornado, a destructive force that just comes through and uproots everything. If I don't get help from my anger, I'm gonna lose my marriage, my family, and my job. More than likely, I'll probably lose my life.
In your view, what's going on?
My view is, at times I do get really out of control. I just will not black out, but get to another level where I don't remember everything that happened, all the details, and when I get to that stage, I feel like a huge burden to everyone. I feel worthless. I know that I'm causing chaos. I know I'm being a tornado in the lives of my family, and at that time, I want to end it all. I want the pain to stop, because I'm tired of being a wrecking ball and causing damage and chaos in their lives.
Is this happening more and more?
The past 2 years, since 2014, it has become extremely more frequently.
And you've been physical with Lexi some. You've thrown her into the wall. You've grabbed her. You've been frustrated and expressed it physically in the moment. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware at times. Yes, I've grabbed her during the middle of our fights. I know, a couple times I grabbed her to move her out of the way so I can get out of the situation, because I could sense it building up more and more. It was probably not the most appropriate thing to do, to pick her up and move her out of the way.
A knife has been involved on numerous occasions, correct?
About a handful, yes.
Have you threatened Lexi with a knife?
No, I've never threatened her with a knife. I have put it in her hand or grabbed her hand to put it on my hand to bury it into my chest.
Have you ever held it to her throat and threatened to cut her throat?
No.
Has he?
So that's where he blacks out. There's things that he doesn't completely remember, or what he says, or...
Is there any reason to doubt what she's saying?
I can't think of any.
I mean, if you're going into a rage so much that the things that you're describing, you're pretty out of control in that moment, right?
Yeah,
And you haven't stabbed her, you haven't cut her, you haven't hurt her with the knife yet at this point, but you guys are getting a deadly weapon involved in rage-fueled encounters. Now, commonsensically, as you sit here today in the bright light of day, isn't that highly dangerous?
it's extremely dangerous, and that's why, after Thanksgiving, after that fight, I took a handful of trazodone to go to sleep because I wanted it all to stop.
Well, I have a really important question for you. You said I wanted it all to stop. And I really want you to talk to me about what all means. I wanted it all to stop. And let me tell you, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you, and I can't help what I don't know from you. So I want you to think about that while we take a break. When we come back, Lexi deletes evidence of Jared's abuse. We're going to talk about why she does that as well.
Who's on the clip that think I'm on her? Oh yeah, I need the thing.
I cheated, touched anybody.
That was the first time he assaulted me. For the last year, Jared's been in and out of 4 mental institutions.
Thanksgiving, Lou took a knife to me.
And he took a bunch of pills and said he wanted me to watch him die.
I wanted to bury the knife in my chest. I was sick and tired of being a wrecking ball in my family's lives.
And I told him I'm going to call the cops. And he said, go ahead. I'll go out suicide by cops.
The next day, I had to take myself into a hospital for help.
Am I in a waiting game of him ever getting healthy or him killing himself?
Well, Lexi and Jared both say their 5-year marriage has been a roller coaster of fights, threats, makeups, and breakups. They all stem from what Lexi says is Jared's biggest insecurity.
2 years ago, Jared's delusions of me cheating on him led him to cheating on us.
Who's on the clip that think I'm on her? Oh yeah, I need the thing.
I cheated, touched anybody.
He made up his mind that he was going to get back at me. He got on Facebook and he looked up all these old girlfriends and he got on dating websites. He had slept with 3 other women.
He told these women that I didn't love him anymore and that I was cheating on him.
I was just trying to fill a void, so yeah, I slept with some people.
I walked into our home and he was sexting. I felt that if I held his phone, I could see the truth.
He got so mad.
He tried to grab me so hard it hurt. He put his arm up against my neck and he wanted his phone back. What hurt the most,
Instead of him caring 1 ounce about my feelings, all he wants is his damn phone back.
and that was the first time he assaulted me.
I was arrested. I went to jail for the charge of assault.
I've always ruled my life by my heart, but I don't want it to destroy 2 kids because I followed my heart and not my head.
Well, Lexi says Jared guilts her into deleting evidence of abuse and feels bad because you don't want to get him in trouble, right?
Well, we kind of have a rule at our house. We just don't focus on the past. We try not to keep bad things around or bad memories. So if there was a picture of a broken wall or I think even the police report, that was bad juju. So we've gotten rid of a lot of it. So we just don't try and keep things around that represent something bad to us.
So all this stuff happens and you leave, but you keep coming back. Why?
It didn't get real bad until, maybe I'm just delusional, but it didn't get real bad until about 3 years ago. And his aunt decided to call him and tell him that he'd been abused and neglected in ways he didn't remember. But after that, his rage just became something that was all the time. And I kept thinking, that's why I said maybe I'm addicted. It's kind of like that first high, or that, with cocaine, you're always chasing that. And I kept feeling like, that's not him. All this craziness isn't him. If she hadn't called and told him all that, he wouldn't be this bad.
Well, Jared, before we took a break, you said, I want all of this to stop. What's it like being you? What's going on in your head?
Well, to answer the first question about everything to stop, I want the chaos to stop. I want the insecurities and fears to stop. I want the struggle and roller coaster to stop.
I believe that we're born with some differences genetically and all, but once we're born, our parents, our family, and the world, they start to write on the slate of who we are. They start to tell us who we are. They start to create an identity and a truth about ourselves.
All right.
People have written on your slate.
Yeah.
What did they write?
A bunch of negative stuff. There's a lot of negative impressions that were left behind.
What did you say to yourself about that?
I'm worthless. I'm not worth anything. I don't deserve my wife. I don't deserve my children. I don't deserve my career. Who am I kidding? Who am I fooling? And it just continues to grow, and then unfortunately the manifestation of anger is what's seen.
That's what you want to stop.
Yes.
And you're afraid this is damaging the whole family unit.
I know it's damaging the whole family unit.
Well, let's take a break, and then we're going to find out what happened when Lexi's little girl ran away and what she told police when they found her.
I'm starting to wonder if I'm teaching them to be abused. Alex said she wanted to kill herself, and she had a knife. What worried me is that was what Jared had said this past year as well.
Lexi and Jared admit their volatile fights have not always been behind closed doors, and frankly, some of them you couldn't have a door thick enough. Lexi's fears of her children being affected, well, they're starting to come true.
This has had a huge impact on my children. They're becoming like mommy. They're making up stories for daddy. I'm starting to wonder if I'm teaching them to be abused. Charlie was telling me that daddy doesn't mean to act like that. It's that Hulk picture that makes daddy do that. Ella tried to run away from home. The policeman asked why she wanted to run away, and she said she wanted to kill herself. And he asked her if she had a plan, and she said yes, that she had a knife. What worried me is that was what Jared had said this past year as well. CPS has been called out, that we were exonerated. I have been told that the only thing they found us guilty of is that the kids have been around an angry man, and that is not good for them. We even had CPS advise me that I should probably divorce him. My biggest fear is losing my children, because I keep choosing my husband.
You feel torn.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And there have been effects on y'all's children already. You both know it, you just don't know how to stop it. Your oldest daughter lost her body hair 5 years ago. She ran away, wanted to stab herself. Asked, is love really that hard? Has even said she's scared will be taken away by CPS. And says, don't make Jared mad. And your younger daughter says there's a monster living inside Jared. And she tells Jared he matters after he says I don't matter.
Yeah.
Who drew this picture?
I believe that was Ella that drew that. And I was in treatment, VA treatment center this past summer. I got that.
It says, Daddy, number 1, be happy. Number 2, be nice. Number 3, don't hurt people. And then she has a picture of the two of you there.
Yes.
Drawings by children are projective devices, actually, because it's a blank piece of paper. So
Yes.
whatever they put down, it really comes from them, right?
Right.
And there is hope in this picture from her. She didn't have to draw sunlight here, but she did. She didn't have to put smiles on the faces,